Hi everyone, hope you're all well. I just wanted to firstly just say well done to all of the classes who have been working really hard, and I can see that you're all submitting the work and your teachers are telling me that you're emailing them if you need some help, so very well done. It clearly shows that you're being very diligent right now. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is please go on to Show My Homework and download this document and have it out in front of you. I will ask you at some points to pause the video and to complete the task. Please do so now. So this question is different to your big right. This question is compare the ways poets present ideas about power in Ozymandias and My Lost Duchess. You have two responses. One is a 5+ response and the second one is a 7+ response. Now it says I do because I've given you the response, and what I would like you to do is to annotate or highlight this paragraph by yourselves for what, how, and why structure. So for what are the ideas in this paragraph? So that's your points. How are these ideas expressed? So that would be your techniques and the effect of the techniques. And the why part would be to do with the writer's intention and context as well. So please pause the video now and complete that task by yourselves. Okay, we're going to be moving on to the second part. So this I will guide you towards. I'm going to read it out first. So we've got both My Lost Duchess and Ozymandias use pieces of art to present their ideas about the destructive nature of power. The painting in Browning's poem and the statue in Shelley's reveal those who are powerful to be self-centered, arrogant, and hubristic. Shelley's symbol of a vast and colossal statue, built by slaves, represents his power and hubris. Perhaps he uses these adjectives to depict the size of what Ozymandias has constructed to boast to others that he is someone who should be feared. Colossal not only gives readers an impression of how huge the statue is, but could also imply solidity, strength, and power. Similarly, Browning uses the symbol of a painting of the Duke's late wife to represent the Duke's power. When showing this painting to a visitor, he describes her as My Lost Duchess. The determiner my implies he sees her as nothing but one of his possessions, just like the painting. He hides the painting behind a curtain, only drawing it for certain people, which suggests that even in death, he wants to control her, and more specifically, who sees her, perhaps because he could not do this when she was alive. In contrast to Ozymandias, where Ramses II's power is so great as a self-proclaimed king of kings that he flaunts it, wanting all to recognize it. The poets may be presenting power in this way to criticize authoritarian rule and the corrupting nature of obsession. Both Ozymandias and the Duke are so concerned with their status that they seem to neglect everything and everyone around them. They clearly believe their power will immortalize them, and so the poets may also be teaching readers a lesson. Power is ephemeral. It will always end in one way or another, and so should be used for good instead of self-preservation and gain. What I would like you now to do is to pause the video, and I would like you to either annotate or highlight what you think is the difference between this 7+ answer and the 5+ answer, which was on the previous page. Please do so now. Hope you've done that. What I'm going to go through first of all is just some of the words that are a bit tricky. So we've got hubristic, and please do write this down on your copies, annotate it so you know what the words mean. This means excessive pride. You have looked at this in Othello, so make sure you're using that kind of vocabulary. Then we've got solidity, so the statue being firm or strong. We've also got authoritarian rule, which means expecting strict obedience. So Ozymandias expects everyone to obey him, otherwise they would die. You've also got ephemeral, which means lasting for a long time. So even though Ozymandias is dead, he wants his power to last way beyond that, and that is through the statue. I hope that one thing that you've noticed already is the kind of vocabulary used in the 7+ response. It's a lot more complex and it's a lot more detailed as well. Now, I've just noticed that there is a space between this and the next line. It's not two different paragraphs, it's the same paragraph. And just look at the type of vocabulary used here. you don't need to be using a list of 3 every time, but just think about the vocabulary that you are using. Now, in our point over here, Shelley, symbol of a vast and colossal statue. So we've got a clear point, but there are embedded quotations as well. So please annotate if you have not done so. If you have and you've got it right, I would like you to tick it. So well done if you have been doing that. And you've got represents as power and hubris. So again, it's a very clear point. Then we've got, just skipping onto this part, colossal not only gives readers an impression of how huge a statue is, but could also imply solidity. So we've got our single word analysis. So you're focusing on what one word means, but in order to get the 7+, you need to be thinking about different interpretations. So one gives the reader an impression of how huge a statue is, and then we've got another one, solidity, strength, and power. So I'm just going to draw an arrow here and write down different interpretations. And that could be maybe something similar. You've got 2 similar interpretations, but you're just developing it a lot more. And then if we move on to here, so we've got the determiner my. So we're thinking about the type of word here. We're not just saying my implies this, you're telling me what type of word, or you're not even saying the word my. You could say the possessive pronoun of my, the determiner my. You're being very specific and clear in your response. And then we're going to be moving on to this part, so where it says, which suggests that even in death, he wants to control her, and more specifically, who sees her? Perhaps he could not do this when she was alive. So this is a lot more detailed. It's not just saying he wants to control her. You're making it a detailed analysis by explaining why does he want to control her, because he couldn't do that when she was alive. Only through death can that happen. So we've got detailed analysis here. We've also got more embedded quotations. So we've got King of Kings. Now embedded means that you're not saying this quote or this is shown in the quotation. Trying to avoid that. To get the higher marks, you need to try to embed your quotation so it's very clear what your ideas are, and the quotations are clear and very short as well. We've also got, where is it? Here. And the corrupting nature of obsession. So again, with the vocabulary is upgraded here. The poets may be presenting power in this way to criticize authoritarian rule and the corrupting nature of obsession. So we're looking at the writer's intention here, making it very clear what are both writers trying to do. Do you see here we've got comparison of both of the writers here. We've also got the characters, both Ozymandias and the Duke. So we've got how these characters are related to the question. I hope that's helpful in understanding how to get the 7+ answer. So do remember that if you want a 7+ answer, you do need to be exploring your ideas more. You are analyzing, but you need to be thinking about different interpretations to get the higher marks. We're now going to be moving towards the big right, which is on the next page. Now, this is your question. Remember to spend 45 minutes, or if you have extra time, it should be an hour. So the question is, compare the ways poets present ideas about pride in My Last Duchess and in one other poem from Power and Conflict. So I have not given you the second poem for, I haven't given you the second poem because I want you to decide which is the best fit. By now, you should be able to think for yourselves which poem do you think is best to compare with this theme. Now, the purpose of the big right is to learn how to express yourself and your ideas in a clear manner and to use evidence to support your ideas. That's why we're doing this every single week. What I would recommend you to do is to go back to the video where I did the planning steps. Go through that first. And then do look at where it says don't forget to include. So you need to include the what, how, why structure, but this is broken down a little bit more to help you. You should be using your notes and your videos to help you. And what I've done is on the side, I've given you some pointers just to help you with structuring your answer. So you've got what, how, why. You've got it tells you what you need to do. So for your introduction, start by summarizing how the theme is presented. And then I've given you sentence starters. You don't have to use them, it is your choice, but I would recommend that you try to write it yourselves first before looking at any of these sentence starters. If you have any further questions, do email your English teachers for help, or you can email me in how I can maybe help you with these videos a bit more if there's any other questions that you have about structuring it in particular. All the best of luck.